Welcome to Talkin Vols, episode number 43, brought to you by the Outright Geekery Podcast Network at outrightgeekery.com. Also by the S&B Network on YouTube. Be sure to hit that like button, leave us a comment, and subscribe. My name is Boogie Bentley.
Boss JP.
Our main.
Wow, JP, you sound like you gave your all for Tennessee. But this podcast is also brought to you by the Collar and Elbow brand, professional wrestling's premier clothing brand. Check them out online at collarandelbowbrand.com. Use the promo code COMICCAST at checkout to save 10% on all the latest and greatest professional wrestling merchandise. My personal favorite is the recently released Dusty Rhodes-inspired Living the Dream t-shirt. And again, you can get that at collarandelbowbrand.com. All the links and the promo code are in the description. We are also at TalkinVols_pod on Facebook and Twitter. Let's get into it. It was senior day in Knoxville, but the Vols absolutely got run out of the stadium, dropping to 5-6 on the year, and a win against Vanderbilt away from becoming bowl eligible. I know when we started this podcast, when we did the season preview, 6-6 was the mark we set. That was the goal when this season started, but here we are. And it's still painful to say that they are a win against Vanderbilt away from bowl eligibility. Something to mention in the post-game press conference, Coach Pruitt said they outcoached us, they outplayed us, they outhit us, and they out-executed us. Opening comments on Tennessee and Missouri are main.
It was a bad matchup, I think, from the get-go, and I didn't get all the cockiness and everything from everyone this week. I don't know, not necessarily you guys, but just in regards, you would think it was just we were playing Charlotte again this week or something. Just the way I see everything on Twitter. All Vol writers I seen predicting Tennessee to win. I don't know. I didn't have a good feeling. It just seemed like a bad matchup to me because Missouri's got one of the best quarterbacks there is. They've got a run game. I just felt it was a bad matchup. I didn't see 50-17 happening, but it was bad, and it seemed like from the get-go that Tennessee was kind of hanging around, and I felt pretty good up until I had interception before halftime, and then everything, it just felt like the wheels come off after that. It was just total blowout. They couldn't stop Missouri. Defense has had some good games. When they face an offense that has a good quarterback and a run game, we've seen this time and time again. Shouldn't be a surprise, and next week they're going to have their hands full as well.
If you'd asked me 3 weeks ago who I was picking, I'm taking Missouri all day long. Why the hype train? Why do we buy in? You're coming off of a huge win over a top 15 program. And, yeah, Missouri was a bad matchup. We both bought in. JP and I both picked Tennessee to win. If you'd probably calmed us down a couple of days later and asked a logical opinion, I don't know that the picks would have been the same. But, listen, man, it is what it is. It's like you said, late in the second quarter, Tennessee's down 9. They're driving with a chance to score, and they're going to get the ball right back in the third quarter. And then Chris throws the interception that it's at least a 10-point swing, if not a 14-point swing. And, I saw a lot of people on VolQuest questioning who's to blame. Of course, a lot of people were saying Callaway was to blame, miscommunication, this, that, and the other. In the post-game press conference, Pruitt said it's a bad throw. So take it for what it's worth. I'm going to go ahead and put that on Chris. Again, they never looked back from that point. It was like they were in it at that point. Looking at that first quarter, absolutely a train wreck of a first quarter. I think Tennessee ended up with, negative 17 yards, something along those lines. Horrible first quarter. But here you are right before the half with a chance to score and cut the lead to 2 and getting the ball back. But, JP, what are your opening thoughts on Tennessee, Missouri?
Just a physical beatdown. I mean, we see it every week with this team. If we're playing somebody that's got some physical linemen, we don't stand a chance. And I mean, yeah, looking back on it, probably should have never picked Vols to win. If I'd had more time to look into it, got to reading about them this week. And Missouri was very balanced, very balanced. I think that they averaged, you know, 200 250 yards rushing and 250 yards passing. You know, is about what they averaged each game. So I mean, very balanced offense. And I mean, we just don't have the horses. We just don't have it. I mean, I knew when they went hurry up like that that was going to kill us. Just absolutely, we just can't. We can't defend that, and then just the offensive line just again just can't get any kind of push, and JG got killed basically the whole first quarter and knocked him out of the game, and with that. But I mean, sitting down there, it was every time that Missouri would run the ball, they'd get 6 or 7 yards. I mean, you're just not going to beat anybody like that. You're just not going to. Just another reminder at how far the program has fallen, and the lack of talent down there.
Well, I don't want to be negative, but I'm going to be negative. Let's talk about Chris. How long have we heard that Chris needs to be in the game? It's been a conversation we've had on here before. Chris has looked good at times. Hell, when he came in the game, he looked good. Took him right down the field and scored. How much of that was Callaway going up and making a play, but still, I think we learned today why Garantano has been the guy. I mean, Chris turned the ball over twice. That's as many interceptions as Garantano's thrown all season. So I would love the people that have been blowing up the comment section of these videos. I would love to see them show up and eat a little crow. I know it won't happen, but I think we learned today why Garantano's the guy.
I think so too, and I think the one thing that Chris has that Garantano doesn't is he does pick up blitzes better. But other than that, I mean, other than that, I didn't see.
He has experience. He has experience. I think that's what that is.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, on the interception before the half, Jennings was breaking across the middle, open for a first down. I don't think he would have scored on it, and he throws that for an interception, which goes the other way, almost for a touchdown. I think today showed for sure why Garantano's quarterback, even though he's not without his faults for sure, and I'm still not for sure he is the guy going forward, but I think today showed why he has been the quarterback from the get-go. I don't disagree with that a bit. I mean, Chris did some good things, but he didn't wow us, and today was the opportunity to close that debate, and I think the debate's closed now. If you're just saying that he picks up blitzes better, he's better because of that, then I don't know what to tell you. That's not the whole thing right there. You can't throw it in harm's way, especially when there's one guy breaking open, you're trying to throw a sideline route, which I hate all the sideline routes anyway. But Garantano's the guy right now. I don't know that he is going forward, but for now he is.
What do you mean by that? Who do you think would be the guy going forward?
I don't know. I'm kind of curious. Me and a buddy of mine had a debate earlier about it where he's convinced Garantano's not. I want to see how he develops going forward because he can't keep sitting back there getting killed every game or he's not going to make it. If I'm Shrout or I'm Brian Maurer coming in, I'm seeing opportunity there. I just don't. Garantano's done a lot of good things. He's got to learn how to read defenses and pick up blitzes to keep himself from getting killed back there to take that next step. If he doesn't, he's not going to be the guy down there.
The interesting part about it is if you could put the two guys together, I think you'd have a heck of a quarterback. I really do. I
Yeah,
think the
no
things
doubt.
that Chris does well, JG does poorly, and then vice versa. It's frustrating at times. But
You're right. If you could combine them, I mean, Chris' instincts are better, I think, but seems like Garantano's decision making. He will take. Sometimes you got to take a sack to avoid a turnover, and that's not the worst thing in the world. I think he takes too many of them, takes too many hits at times, but Chris does pick up blitzes better. But that's really the only thing I'm seeing. His arm's definitely not better. Callaway bailed him out on some throws
a
today,
lot.
make him look
Yeah.
better than he
Yeah.
was. But I didn't think Chris was terrible by any means, but he definitely, we saw why Garantano's the guy as well, I think.
Well, probably a play that's not going to be talked about much, or people's probably going to forget about, is right before he threw that interception there, right before halftime, he missed Wood Anderson down there about the 3 or 4 yard line. I mean, he had him open and overthrew him.
Yeah,
Well,
and when he,
according to Gary Danielson, Wood Anderson should have caught that. That was Wood Anderson's fault.
was that not ridiculous?
He's a son of a bitch. I'm gonna say it right now. He is a son of a bitch. We listen to these games on CBS and we get pissed off, we get irritated, and it's one thing when the calls, every close call, they're defending the other team, or an Alabama or a Georgia or a Florida, and it gets old, it gets irritating. I get sick of hearing it. You would think that Locke is the next Tom Brady, and that's old and that's irritating. But when Callaway's laying on the ground injured and he's laughing and chuckling and having a good time saying that he nudged him, man, have a little class, have a little respect. I don't care. It's irrelevant whether that play when Callaway went down, whether it should have been a penalty or not. That's irrelevant. Show a little class and shut your freaking mouth when he's laying on the ground injured. He's just a son of a bitch, man. Like, I don't like the guy. I've never liked the guy. But he showed no class in that situation when you got a player on the ground hurt. And we talked about it, we texted about it earlier, how much he looked like he was the better of the two when old Bulldog Lundquist was on CBS with him. He looked better at the time because Lundquist was such an idiot. But now he's showing his true colors, and that has nothing to do with anything other than being a turd. He showed his true colors today.
Well, I used to like
classless.
him. I mean, I used to think he was all right, but my goodness, today and like the end when Reed was ejected. Oh yeah, that's a head-to-head hit, and they keep showing it. Well, he never touched the guy's head on that.
Nope.
He keeps defending it. And
He was
like
saying
you
he was
said,
down. It's like he was just grasping at straws. At first it was because he was down. Then it was helmet to helmet. Well, it was neither of the two. He wasn't down, and it wasn't helmet to helmet.
Yeah, and on the one on Wood Anderson, he's like, well, I see guys make these plays all the time. No, you don't. You don't see that. I mean, could he have possibly caught it? Yes, maybe. That would have been a pretty miraculous catch as high as that was right there. I mean, that guy was just ridiculous today. He showed he was an idiot today. Now, one thing about from Chris to Wood Anderson that was missed was when Tennessee had to take the field goal to go, when they cut it and they scored the field goal to get to 10, when Chris was scrambling, Wood Anderson broke open in the end zone and Chris didn't hit him.
Yeah,
If he
wide
would have thrown
open.
it over, that would have been a touchdown because Wood Anderson did break open enough right there where if he would have put it, I think, a little bit to Wood Anderson's right, that would have been a touchdown. But that one throw, no. There's not guys making those plays every week. That's ridiculous.
He was lucky to get his hands on it.
Mm-hmm.
In reality,
Yeah, I thought it was way over his head.
It
I mean,
was.
it
he
hit
got
his hands.
on it, but
yeah, it hit his hands, but it was such a bad throw that's all it did was hit his hands.
yeah, but Chris didn't. He missed some opportunities there. I mean, Wood Anderson down there, that would have cut it. They would have been at 14. He missed Jennings before the half. Instead, it's an interception the other way. That's two pretty big plays right there. I mean, would Garantano hit him? I don't know, but I don't know.
It goes back to what we've said all along on this podcast. I don't think either one of them's great.
No.
And that's why this conversation is open for discussion.
And
Because
that's why I say I don't know. Maybe Garantano is the guy. He's just a sophomore. Is the good thing about it. He's made a lot of progress this year. He has to learn to pick up blitzes and not take the beatings he's taking right now.
Yeah. He might be the guy, but he's not the guy.
I would like to see him with a decent offensive line.
Yeah.
Well, that's true, but I mean, I agree with what Armane's saying. That, like, he misses so many. Like, look at the changes that Chris makes when he's at the line of scrimmage. He makes a lot of changes. He does, and like when he first came into the game, I think he had a big play right out of the gate, and it was because he recognized the pressure. Maybe it was a third down play. Maybe it wasn't the first play he came into the game. I can't remember.
Well, he had a pretty good the same play they ran on first down, they run on third down for success. He just missed the first down play.
Yeah, it was a huge gain on that third down.
Yeah.
Huge gain. Because he recognized the pressure. And he kind of limp-armed it out there, but at the same time, Jennings went and made a play. He gave him the opportunity to make a play. I'm not hating on JG. I'm a JG guy. I'm behind Garantano 100%. I have been since day one. It is what it is.
He's just got to learn to pick
up. Ready next Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he's ready to go next Saturday because I think they can win with Chris, but I think they've got a better shot with Garantano back there. I mean, they've got 5 wins with him as a quarterback, and he's had every bit to do with some of them wins. Now, is there things he's done wrong along the way? Absolutely. But, you know, he had a big game at Auburn, and he's had some other good games along the way as well. I think the argument was put to rest today as to why he is the starting quarterback. There's a reason he is.
I hate this is when you guys stop talking and then you look to me to direct the conversation. I look at my notes. I look at my notes and I'm like, well, I got 14 directions I could go. I kind of want to talk about targeting a little bit because number 6, Ross for Missouri, was ejected from the game for targeting on Callaway, and Callaway lowered his head, and that's what led to the targeting. And then later in the game, Armane mentioned it earlier, Reed was ejected for targeting when he never even touched the guy's head. Did not touch the guy's head. It was 100% to the shoulder. The guy wasn't down. What the hell is targeting? I have no clue what targeting is. I still cannot get a grasp on the rule because if you were asking me if Ross made a tackle that was intended to injure Callaway, I would say no. Leave him in the game. He was trying to make a football play, and Callaway lowered his head. But by rule, was it helmet to helmet? Yeah, it was. I don't know. College football has to figure this targeting rule out. They've got to figure it out. I don't think coaches know how to coach it.
I don't think they do either, and I think Pruitt has even alluded to that, you know, how do you teach a guy not to tackle? I mean, we've seen it numerous times. Like the Auburn game, Batuli was ejected for targeting after the Auburn guy lowers his head. The next week, Bama guy, you know, exact same play, and the Alabama guy was initially going to be ejected, and then they overturned it. I mean, if you overturn it one week, you've got to overturn it every time. It can't be. I know Alabama's going to get it in their favor every time, but I'm with you. What is the rule? I mean, how do how do you teach tackle? I mean, do you just go for their legs every time, or what? It's a puzzling rule anymore. There was, I mean, the guy that the hit Garantano took in the first quarter on the first series was a blatant clothesline to the back of the head. I mean, is that not something right there? I don't.
What do you guys think about that call? I thought that was a questionable targeting. He, like you said, he got clothesline to the back of the head, and when it happened live, I thought you're not going to question that. But I kind of let it go because it may be the neck area, and then when Taylor got roughing the passer, and of course, old dickhead Gary Danielson says, well, that was similar to the hit that Garantano went down on, but the difference was Garantano ducked into it.
Well, no, they called one on
what
Missouri
were you watching?
for the same thing.
What were you watching? Garantano ducked into it? He got hit blindside. What are you talking about?
Yeah, those two were not anything alike. I mean,
no, two different plays. But, I mean, I'm not arguing the Taylor call. I thought it was roughing the passer. I did. I thought it was. But I also thought that Garantano call was questionable.
Well, they called it on the roughing the passer. I'll give them credit. They called it both ways because one time Chris threw it, and then the Missouri guy leveled him after the throw. They did call it both ways there, but the targeting.
I thought the Garantano hit was worse than the Chris call that he got.
Well,
personally.
At least it was on a sack, but I mean, what's targeting? Is a clothesline not targeting? If so, I mean, I'm throwing Russian sickles every day.
Yeah.
If that's
what that was.
Yeah.
Right to the back of the dome.
No, I'm sure Nikita Koloff was beating his chest over that one if he was watching.
Grinning ear to ear. Singing the Russian national anthem with Ivan Drago somewhere.
I just don't know where they've got to revisit that rule in the off season. I mean, it's if a guy lowers his head, what's the defender supposed to do? Right there. I mean, but
I don't understand it.
If you
I would have never ejected the guy.
I
would have never ejected the guy that hit Callaway. Never in a million years. But when it happened, I said, well, he's gone. I said, he's gone.
Well, they've got to revisit it. I mean, if the offensive guy lowers his head and the defensive guy's already in the mode of making a tackle, there's nothing they can do about it. Not when you're already in motion. Now, if you launch or you just blatantly cream them in the head, that's one thing. But in action, in the motion, you can't call targeting, not when the offensive guy lowers their head when you're lowering to make a tackle. I mean, if that's the case, the defensive guy's got to lower to about 2 foot above the ground to not do it. I mean, that's kind of hard to do.
When's National Signing Day, fellas? We need some studs.
How about early signing day?
Just something. Just give me an offensive lineman that weighs more than 270 pounds soaking wet, please.
They did make a comment today I thought was interesting. Your old boy Danielson made it, talking about Odom from Missouri. And this is something I think Tennessee's guilty of. Missouri, they said Odom says that if he has an extra scholarship or two, he's giving it to a lineman because that's where you're winning games in this conference is on the line instead of giving it to a receiver, defensive back. How many times does that last scholarship or 2 or 3 at Tennessee go to a receiver, an athlete, or a corner or something?
That never plays.
Yeah.
Well, them diamond in the rough Butch Jones and Bob Welton finds.
Mm-hmm. I mean.
Yeah. I hope Butch choked on another cigar tonight after that.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting point, though. I mean, not all of your good offensive and defensive linemen are 4- and 5-star guys. I mean, there's 3- and 2-star guys littered around the country that have turned out to be pretty good ball players. If you got any kind of a coach that's worth anything, they can develop guys. I mean, you throw it to a JUCO DB at the last minute that's unheard of and gets his grades in order that never pans out. That's a wasted scholarship. I'm going to take it on I agree with the philosophy. Take it on an offensive or defensive lineman to try to build something. I mean, what the hell are you doing with wasted defensive backs back there or anything? Yeah, I think it's a decent point actually.
Yeah, I mean, I don't argue that. I just think that we're gonna have to get in the weight room. I mean, we're gonna have to get some of these kids to get some strength. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, we absolutely get abused, but at the line of scrimmage. I mean, just absolutely just
But do
abused.
you
It's
think
sickening
do you think
to
that
see
Missouri's
the
defensive
size
line?
of our offensive linemen out there.
Do you think Missouri's defensive lineman is that much better than Kentucky's?
They're pretty
Yeah.
good.
You do? You do
Yeah,
think they're better?
that Beckner kid will probably be a first round pick, and they had another lineman that I was reading about this week that they said he'll probably be second or third round probably pick.
Missouri's got a pretty good history of decent defensive
Defensive
linemen.
lineman, yeah.
I mean, I think Missouri's a good football team, but I think this Tennessee team has been so inconsistent all year long.
That's
long.
what I texted you guys sitting down there. I was like, it's been a roller coaster. I mean,
It's so
it's
hard to
one week.
pinpoint.
I mean, we were averaging five yards a carry against Kentucky, rushed for 15, 20 yards or whatever, and then today it was every time we'd hand the ball off, they'd be meeting us in the backfield.
But you can't do anything against Charlotte. You go down there and beat Auburn. It's so hard to wrap. Like, if you had laid this out to us before the season, like, I mean, I know I said 6-6 was the goal. That's what we've all said all along. 6-6, 7-5. You could see us losing 7 games. Where are we at? What are we looking at? But if you had told me who this team would have beat and who they would have lost to, it's been a strange season, very strange season.
It's been Jekyll and Hyde. I mean,
Yeah.
You never know from week to week. I mean, I don't know how you can gain confidence from one week to the next. I mean, they played excellent last week, and then this week it's just you have 50-17. It was brutal today. It's I don't know. It's hard for me to wrap my head around it too. I mean, but I'm with JP on this. Against a good defensive line, you're not going to do anything with a line full of 270 and 80-pound guys across through there. I don't think Richmond's, I think he's over that, but he's asleep half the time. And then,
Well, I mean, you got Tatum and Johnson on the left side. I mean, you know, Tatum's probably a cheeseburger shy of 280.
yeah,
And
Johnson too.
And I read something they claim that Johnson is down to about 270 now. That he started out about 280, but he's lost about 10 pounds throughout the season. And then you got Olay Ryan Johnson playing center. You know,
Shoo. That
open
position
gate.
is killing this football team. It is.
That Brandon
And,
Kennedy energy.
We ripped on him after that first game, and losing him has hurt this football team.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, he's
and
hurt.
Niehaus out there, I mean, he can't be 280 or so either.
I know.
You can't win an SEC with a line that size. You just cannot do it.
And then
And I hate to keep saying the guy's name, but that comes back on Butch Jones.
Well, yeah, it does.
It does.
Yeah.
And
It
as
does.
much
That's
as I
why
hate
I
to
said-
say that, I hate to say that name, and I hate to make excuses, but that's his fault. That's his fault.
That's why I said I hope he choked on another cigar tonight.
As you rip off a big yawn, that's an exciting podcast. Oh,
Well, I
that's
mean,
awesome.
it's that when you recruit guys that are 260 pounds trying to beef them up into linemen in the SEC, that's a recipe for disaster. That's just stupidity at its finest right there. And that's why these guys that Pruitt has committed, you don't see that. These are all guys that'll come in and be SEC lineman size. Will all of them be ready to contribute immediately? Maybe not, but it won't be for lack of size. That's one thing about it. Every one of them's 300-plus pounds. And I wouldn't put it past every one of them having a shot to play significant time next year either.
Yeah. We had a MAC level coach, and he recruited MAC level talent. You know, that's just the way it is.
Well, I mean, you can probably go look at the offers for most of that line, and you're exactly. I mean, Richmond was highly touted. Trey Smith, of course, he's out, but who besides that was highly coveted? Honestly, I mean, it was nothing against the guys. I know they're busting their hind ends, but you can't do that in this conference. Cannot have that size of a line.
No, and you know, that's the only thing that we can hope is that, you know, obviously that we get some more recruits in, which, you know, it sounds like that we're going to, obviously, but, you know, hopefully another, you know, year in the strength conditioning program, a consistent strength conditioning program, will help maybe people like Jameer Johnson and maybe Ryan Johnson and Niehaus and all them, you know. I mean, I honestly think that probably Tatum, I think that he'll be passed over, especially if they get Wanya Morris and Darnell Wright. I would be surprised if he was playing. I mean, you know, really, he's just playing out of necessity at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he's not been very good from the time he's been there, and I would say he's had his moments, but I don't know when he's had them. And
no, but you know, another spot on this football team that's severely lacking in talent is linebacker. I mean, we are so slow. I mean,
yeah, it was exposed today.
Well, yeah. Any team that doesn't run right at us, we're going to struggle with. I mean, it's just obvious, and you know, we put the two freshmen out there on the island most of the day, and you know, they got lit up. I was bragging on Taylor last week in this podcast, and I don't know, he got exposed today because they went after him with that Hall kid at number 84. And
some of that you got to give credit where credit's due, though. Locke made some freaking ridiculous throws today.
Oh,
Taylor had some good coverage, and Danielson's talking about what a great throw it was, and I mean it was. There's some luck in there too. I mean, my goodness, you couldn't have placed the ball more perfectly than Locke did.
They was at least 2 touchdowns that Missouri just dropped.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They also had illegal guys downfield too. So you can say what you want. Oh, he was open. He caught the ball. He dropped it. He dropped it. Well, it's coming back anyway. It's coming back anyway.
It might have been, but their running back was leaving early too, out of his stance.
I noticed that a time or two.
Yeah, there was a touchdown. You sent us a text and said they move early every play, and I was thinking the same thing on that exact same play. The running back moved out of the backfield before they ever snapped the ball.
Yeah, SEC ain't gonna call that. Them refs are too freaking lazy.
But that's at the same time. I mean, I get it.
Ain't gonna matter.
I agree, but that didn't make a difference in the outcome of the game. What'd you guys think of Hilton tonight? I thought it was interesting.
Just don't get me started.
No, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it started because Pruitt said something interesting in the post-game press conference, and I'm gonna read it to you guys because it's pretty telling, and that's why I want to read it. And he said, when they have more in than we can block, We don't need to be running the ball, which we did multiple times tonight. And then he said, we have to have ways to get the ball out on the perimeter, whether it's bubble screens, slants, stabs, whatever you want to call it. We just didn't take advantage of that all the time. So when you have 6 to block 7 and you hand the ball off in there and, hey, your 6 guys, some days your 6 guys get it done and some days they don't. Sometimes maybe you are, but we weren't today.
I thought he sucked today.
That's pretty telling when your head coach is saying pretty damn common sense stuff, right? When you got 6 in to block 7 and you run the ball, and I don't know that that's necessarily a shot at Helton or if it's a shot at the quarterbacks for not seeing what the defense is presenting. I don't know. It wasn't Helton's best game, but at the same time, there's times we sit here and we praise Helton. It's very easy when the game's over to praise Helton and say, oh, he did a great job. He called a great game. Yeah, because they won. And then when they lose, he called a piss-poor game. You know, it's easy to play armchair quarterback, but it wasn't his best game. I would agree with that.
I mean, where's the middle of the field?
He's a lot like this football team. He's up and down.
Yeah.
He is. I mean, where's the middle of the field?
I just don't know if he'll make it.
Go ahead.
Oh. I was just going to say that I'm
Armane's
just not
making great
convinced that
points.
he's going to make it.
I mean, with comments
I think he'll
like
make it until
that,
next season.
Too. It just makes me wonder, too. I mean, where's the middle of the field? Where we've gotten Ty Chandler loose across the middle on some of these plays. I mean, where's the slants? Everything's a damn sideline play. The stupid-ass sideline play. My goodness. That's all it is, it seems like. I mean, the middle of the field's open. Running backs, a veer out and across the middle. Where's it at? There's no creativity today. Like I said, he's like the team. He's up and down. And today he was down.
I tend to defend offensive coordinators a lot, but talking about the middle of the field where it's at, how many times today did Callaway, not even just today, all season, how many times did Callaway make Helton look like a superstar because he goes up and makes a play? How many times has that guy bailed out the quarterbacks, Helton,
That's
everybody?
been our best play all year long.
Receivers making plays. Receivers making plays.
They've got
That's
the
been
guys
our
to
best
make
play.
them. I mean, that's...
Oh, he can. He can make them. He can. But I think, good gosh, how much should we be praising him versus, play calling or anything else? The guy has bailed out this team more times than we can count.
On the road home from the game, they were talking to Pruitt, and he was basically saying, that it was either all or nothing today. He said either we were hitting a long pass play or basically they couldn't gain a yard. I mean, it was just there wasn't any. Yeah,
they can't run the football. Their lack of ability to run the football consistently week to week has killed this football team.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I would love to see the numbers for the times they've been tackled in the backfield. It's annihilated this team. It's killed them, and that's where I defend Helton because what the heck would you call? What the heck are you gonna call when you can't call a run play on first down because it ain't gonna go anywhere? So what? You know what I mean? What are you gonna throw the ball every play? I mean,
I will say this: when he throws a long pass on first down, if it doesn't complete, when I'm sitting there and I know a run's coming on second down, I guarantee you these guys that are getting paid a lot of money to coordinate a defense are going to know it's coming. I mean, it's every time you can see here comes a run up the middle, and Missouri feasted on it today. Sometimes, you've got to keep throwing.
Boys.
I mean, if you can't run, I understand you got to run separate pass. If the run's not working, sometimes you just got to freaking abandon it and not be stubborn about it. And
But man, it's tough to go into a game and say, well, you gotta throw 80% of the time. Good luck. Good luck calling plays in that scenario.
I don't think you come into a game saying that, but I think as the game goes along, if you're not getting any yardage, you've got to adjust. I mean, you've got to work a run in occasionally or something, but not the same predictable pattern. I mean, it's just
How many?
Well, it's like the Phil's of me play. You know, you were bitching about it, and I agree. Everybody knew what was coming. Like as soon as he went in motion, I said, okay, this is a sweep. And then he went across and he stopped, and I was like, well, okay. And then he comes back. I'm like, okay, here comes the sweep. They handed it to him. It's like everybody in the state. Like Missouri was not fooled. Nobody was fooled. But at the end of the day, he picked up 5 yards. It's not Hilton's fault he fumbled the football. It's not.
No, but
it's
I mean,
not.
when he comes into the game, you know what the play is going to be. That's the only play
100%.
they've run with him this year.
100%. Yep. You're right. I mean, you're right. But at the same time, it ain't Hilton's fault. He can't hold on to the football.
No, it's not on that. But I mean, like you said, he got 5 yards. He's got to hold on to the ball. If he holds on to it, there's no complaining on that play. But we do know what's coming on it. Just like the second play of the game when Murphy's in that early, I had a pretty good idea it was a reverse. I mean, it's
yeah. And like you said, if you know, you don't think a guy that gets paid $1 million a year to coach defense, you don't think he knows? I
guess
agree.
my question is on that play with Fields of me. Why don't you not hand it off to him and get everybody flowing to that side, and then hit Jennings or Callaway or somebody on the opposite side? Why don't?
Well, I think they've done that. I mean, I think they've done that some, but it's.
I've not seen them do it any. If they have,
They I don't know that it's feels of me, but they've run that little sweep play action all year long. All year long, they've done it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with JP on this. I mean, it feels on me's in there, and every time he comes in, you're running an end around or a sweep with it. Why not fake it and see if you can hit Jennings or Callaway or Palmer to the other side right there?
Where was Palmer tonight?
He caught 1 or 2 passes, but other than that, he wasn't targeted much, I don't think.
Where was Jennings at?
Well, Jennings
So
caught
about the same. About the same.
Yeah, I mean, he
About
caught
the
that
same.
one long one.
And Missouri has the worst rated secondary in the SEC.
Your first string quarterback took a dirt nap in the first quarter too.
Well, I'm sorry, but we should have took advantage of their bad secondary.
I think we're pointing fingers in the wrong direction. The defense looked horrible. Horrible.
They were on the
And
field
I know
a
this
lot,
Missouri-
too.
They were. And this 50 points worth. I know this is a good Missouri football team, but at the same time, the defense looked horrible all day long. And I think JP hit on it early in the game that Missouri's up-tempo really hurt Tennessee. And I think a lot of that was Pruitt didn't have time to get the plays in. He didn't have time to adjust. And you see him coaching on the sideline week in and week out, sees what the offense gives him, and they make changes. He didn't have time to do that. I think that kudos to Missouri. They took advantage.
I've said, I mean, we've talked about it on here before. We've referenced this game before. And my big concern was if you let Locke stand back there, he's going to kill him. And
Oh, yeah.
there was no pressure on him. I mean, even when they blitzed, every time, and this
It was an easy pitch and catch.
Yeah, I mean,
Easy pitch and catch.
exactly. Good quarterback like that, when we blitzed, whether it was a corner blitz or linebacker, it left a guy open, and he hit that guy almost every time. I mean, it was just – and Tennessee was trying. I mean, they were trying to get pressure, but when your line can't do it, you're screwed. I mean, just play against a good quarterback, and they're going to run into that again this week. Shermer's a decent quarterback, and they can run the ball as well. I mean, it's the same thing. If the line doesn't get pressure, they're going to the house for the bowl this season.
Well, let's transition to that. But first, I want you guys to hit on Tennessee basketball real quick. Whether you guys go a couple minutes, whatever you want to talk about. Let's just hit Tennessee basketball real quick. Then we'll transition to Tennessee Vanderbilt.
All right, Tennessee, they had their first pretty good test of the week this week. Georgia Tech wasn't pretty, but it was. I don't think the game was ever in doubt on that. Do you, JP?
No, actually, that was a grinded out game. I mean, baskets weren't going in, but Tennessee played really good defense, and I think it was a good game for them to play like that. You know, I mean, because I mean, it's not every night that you're gonna, you know, the baskets are going to be falling for you, so you're going to have to win with your defense some. And yeah, I mean, even though I think they won by 13 points, and at one time I think they were up 15 or 16, but no, it was never in doubt. I mean, that was the thing with it, that Tennessee was in control of that game from the opening tip.
Yeah, I mean, it was, like I said, it was a good game for them. I mean, they'd had two pretty easy games the week before, and then, like I said, it was a grinded out game, and it was one that you kind of felt like, well, they could play better, but at the same time, I never felt like Georgia Tech was going to beat them during that game, and I think it's a testament to how good they are, that they can not play their best, but they can grind one out like that. And you know, when we did our preview, we talked about what we wanted to see, and I think we both agreed on it. Williams was pretty much last year. It was around the bucket and stuff, and now, yeah. I mean, he's draining threes and stuff. That's pretty exciting to me, seeing him with that outside game. Kyle Alexander's nailing threes. That's a dimension of this team, I think, is that some of these big guys are now moving out a little bit. And Fulkerson's playing a lot better this year as well. And they're pretty fun to watch. I mean, they're very athletic. They're shooting pretty well. And I'm excited to see what they can do this week against Louisville and then more than likely Kansas.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm really pumped about this week's games. You know, they play Louisville there Wednesday evening. I think it starts at 5, so I'll probably have to record it, watch it when I get home from work and everything. But then Friday night, if they win Wednesday, then more than likely they get a chance to take on the Kansas Jayhawks.
Yep,
so
number 2.
Really excited about that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know much about Louisville right now. I think that's a pretty winnable game, but I think Kansas beats Marquette, even though Marquette is 24th. They're undefeated as well. That'll probably be a pretty good game. But they'll find out a lot about what they can do this week. And personally, I kind of hope they play Kansas on Friday. I hope they win and then play Kansas, because I want to see, you know, we're ranked, 5th right now? And
yeah, 5th, yeah.
I want to see what you can do with number 2 right now, preseason number 1, and probably rightfully 2 after Duke just destroyed Kentucky the way they did.
Yeah.
Stuff, but it's it's gonna be a fun year. They're so athletic. I mean, I'm just surprised. I knew they were athletic, but I think I'm even more surprised after watching them just how athletic they really are. If that Pons kid can develop a shot, my goodness. They are
certainly a fun team to watch for sure. They really are. Maybe we can get Boogie in on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and a big week on the signing front. I mean, signed a 5-star point guard out of South Carolina. Maybe a one and done, but Hey, at this point in time, one and dones can help you get pretty far. So we'll see what they're made of this week. But it's been a good start to the season. They've definitely showed out pretty well.
Yep. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this week for sure.
You're never going to get me interested, so we should probably just go ahead and change subjects.
Maybe they'll add a UT hockey team here in a year or two.
Hey, dude, I've seen the Tennessee hockey team. They have a hockey team. Well, they did
really?
a long time ago. I don't know if it still exists. I would go down and watch. At the time, it was the Knoxville Cherokees, the minor league team down there in
That
Knoxville.
ain't University
And we
of
went-
Tennessee.
No. But after the game, Tennessee had a hockey game, and it was, dude, they came out with different colored jerseys, different colored pants. It was a train wreck. I don't know what it was. It was the University of Tennessee though, and it was a
Must have
train
been
wreck. So I don't
intramurals
know.
or something.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but let's move on, boys. It all comes down to this: Tennessee Vanderbilt this Saturday, SEC Network, 4 p.m. What's the score right now? This is a huge factor for me, and I don't know if it should be, but it is. What's the Ole Miss Vanderbilt score right now?
19-19 with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Oh man, what do you guys think about this? Because I was talking to a longtime listener, never a caller, Davis. We were talking earlier. I want Vanderbilt to lose this game and go into the last game of the season with no hope of getting bowl eligibility, because I think, number one, I think it takes the crowd out of it. Number two, I think some of your players are going to be checked out at that point. But on the flip side of that, they could come into that game saying, hey, we don't have anything to play for, but let's go ahead. This is our bowl game. Let's spoil Tennessee's opportunity to get bowl eligible. But I think if they both go in 5-6 with a bowl game on the line, I think Vanderbilt's going to show up to play. No ifs, ands, or buts. They're going to show up to play. What do you guys want to see happen in the fourth quarter of this Ole Miss game? Surely to God, you're both pulling for Ole Miss.
I don't really care, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean,
pulling for Ole Miss.
that's fine, but Vanderbilt's going to be up for Tennessee either way. That's their bowl game every year.
You think but
They
if there was a
always
chance
are.
of them slipping, you don't think it's going to be them losing? You don't think it's going to impact the game?
I think either way Vanderbilt comes in, they're going to be fired up. They're either coming in fired up for a bowl game or they're coming in. I think it would probably be better if they're just coming in to ruin Tennessee's season opposed to a bowl game and to ruin Tennessee's season, because they make a living off of bragging about beating Tennessee year round. So they're
Well, what have they won? 4 of the last 6?
Yep.
Wow, that's freaking
Yeah.
impressive.
Isn't that pitiful?
And I mean, they're the same way. They've got a decent quarterback. They've got a good run game. Tennessee's going to have their hands full with them.
I know it. That's what scares me about it, is that, it's not going to be like Kentucky where we key on the run and we can win. I mean, we're going to have to be able to stop both the run and the pass. And I mean, the last couple of years, I mean, Shermer has absolutely lit us up.
Yeah, I mean, he's looked like Tom Brady 2 years in a row against UT. And Vaughn, their running back's pretty good. It's going to be a tall task this week, and that's their season. A lot of times is beating Tennessee. They could care less down there if they won any other game other than Tennessee, and they can brag about that all year long.
Well, they're pretty balanced. Same way.
That's what scares me, is the balance. That's what
Yep.
scares me, because like you said, that was a big factor in Tennessee beating Kentucky, because they were one dimensional.
Yeah.
And Pruitt put together a great game plan to take care of that. So I don't know.
I mean, Ole Miss has got a pretty stout offense, and
It's pretty stout.
Right
They're
now,
one of the.
about
I think they're
three
what,
quarters
top 5?
through.
Top 5 offense in the country. In the country.
Vandy's
5
driving
offense.
again right now, about ready to score on them. Oh Lord!
I don't know. I just was afraid the whole time. I was hoping that South Carolina game would not come back to bite them.
How many times did we say that? How many times did we say after that game the how crucial that loss was?
It was, and it's. I mean, we're sitting here acting like they've got a shot to go in there and win next week. Let's don't make any bones about it, but they're going to have to play better than they did today. They cannot self-inflict like they did today, like they do every damn time they lose. I mean, it's up and down every week. Hopefully, it's like one week good, next week bad. Hopefully, this was the bad week, and next week they come out ready to go. I mean, if you can't get fired up to go down and beat Vanderbilt and get a bowl game,
with your entire season on the damn line.
I mean, that
season.
Next week
this is it.
Will make or break this season in a good or a bad way. And if you don't have any pride to not want to listen to them run their mouths all year long, that's our state, which it's never going to be their state. But, they keep getting to lay claim to it. If you can't have any pride to go down there next week and beat their ass, you don't need to be playing for UT. Or you don't need to be coaching down there. Either way.
You just hit the nail on the head. The entire season lays on this game. Our opinion of this season, no matter what's happened up to this point, they go down there and beat Vanderbilt, and then, good God, it's so sad to say that. They go down there and beat Vanderbilt and get bowl eligible. I don't care if they win or lose the bowl game. Obviously, I want them to win it, but they're getting the extra practices, and I think they win this coming Saturday. We consider the season a win, and Pruitt needs to go out and get some Jimmies and Joes, and then we'll move forward. But if they go and they lose, I think the jury's out. The jury's out.
I think it is too. I mean, it's if they get. We said before the season, we've said. I mean, after the Florida game, we was all doubting if they'd win another game outside of Charlotte. So, I mean, if they get a bowl game, I think the season's a success, no doubt. If they come up and let Vanderbilt knock them out of the bowl, I think the jury's out.
Well, I think any time that you lose to Vanderbilt, the jury's out.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, Butch Jones proved it. Derek Dooley proved it. You're not going to make it at UT losing to Vanderbilt. You're just not going to do it.
No, you don't.
I don't know.
Lose to Vanderbilt in Kentucky at Tennessee. That's just all there is to it. Missouri's one thing.
No.
Missouri was a better team. Let's just put it that. Missouri was a better team. Vanderbilt's not a better team.
They are, but
or they shouldn't be.
But
Vanderbilt's gonna come. They'll come in ready. You can, if there's anything, Mason gets them up to play Tennessee. I don't know what it is about it, but if Pruitt can't get him up to playing, if he comes out having bonehead decisions all day, the jury's out on him.
I just don't know if this football team has the talent that Vanderbilt has.
That's not an excuse. I'm tired of hearing that against teams like freaking Vanderbilt.
I'm serious.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying
I bet their offensive linemen don't weigh 270
I'm telling you right
pounds.
now, it ain't an excuse. It ain't an excuse. Tennessee doesn't lose to Vanderbilt, period. Let's make our picks and let's get out of here. I got to go to bed.
True. Vanderbilt just went ahead.
Sweet Moses. right before we make our picks, really?
Yep.
Armaine, you've been MIA. We put you on the milk carton last week, and you're back. I'm glad that GoFundMe came through. We rescued you. We recovered you from the kidnappers. but that means you're on the spot and you got to pick first. Tennessee Vanderbilt this Saturday. What's your prediction?
I kind of need to run out of the crowd with my mouth taped and my wrist tied up, and then do a moonsault off the top rope to the outside like old Hangman Page did. But
we'd probably get more views if you
did
that.
I'd probably break my neck though. I wouldn't make it all the way over. But I mean, right there, Shermer 59th career touchdown pass ties the record. I don't have a good feeling about it. I really don't. And it's because Vandy can run, they can pass it. Tennessee has not fared well against any offense that can do both. Jeez. I really don't even want to pick, but I said last week I don't have a pick, and it's because I didn't really feel comfortable about it. I think my heart says they're going to come to play next week. My mind says that we're going to be on here raising hell next week.
I do not want to be a part of this podcast if Tennessee loses next week.
I really don't know what to say on it. Honestly, after today, knowing what's in store, I think we're going to be disappointed next week. Vandy 27, Tennessee 20. That's it. Pruitt is still being judged after next week.
Well, you're fired. JP, what's your pick for this week?
Yeah, I don't have a good feeling about it either. Every time that I pick Tennessee to win on this podcast, they crap the bed. So, like I just said, it's sad to say, but I think Vanderbilt's a more talented football team. I really do. I think that, at least that they've been in a strength conditioning program ever since however long Mason's been down there now, 4 or 5 years. They got the same system and everything, and Tennessee's just a bunch of hodgepodge out there that, should be, honestly, they got players that should be playing in the MAC conference. And I just don't know how that Tennessee can stop a team that's that can both run and pass. I just don't know how we can. I think Vanderbilt wins it. They'll probably win it about, 31-20 actually.
Mm-hmm. All right. I want every single person listening to this podcast to turn your fucking volume up, and I want you to listen to every word coming out of my mouth. If you have been listening to Talkin VAWLS from day one, if you have been listening to this podcast for 2 days, if you are listening to Talkin VAWLS right now, I want you to dial in. I want you to listen to every word that comes out of my mouth. We do not lose to Vanderbilt. I don't care what our main says. I don't care what Vols JP says. I don't care what history says. I don't care what 4 of the last 6 years says. Tennessee does not lose to Vanderbilt. We go to Nashville. We take care of business. Coach Pruitt is the future. Tennessee does not lose to Vanderbilt. I don't care what the talent says. I don't care what recruiting says. I want you to listen to Boogie Bentley. Tennessee takes care of business this week. They go 6-6. We get bowl eligible. We go bowling, and Tennessee gets those extra practices. I don't care what anything says. Drop in the comment section. Tell me you agree with me. And if you don't, lose my number and move on, because Tennessee takes care of business this week. I don't care what you guys say. You're not saying another word in this podcast. That's going to wrap it up for Talkin VAWLS episode 43. The only thing that matters is Tennessee takes care of business this weekend. Again, hit the comment section. Tell me you agree with me. Tell me Vols JP and our main are not right. Be sure to hit up our sponsors, OutrightGeekery.com, Collarandelbowbrand.com, promo code ComicCast. For these two Negavols, I am the optimist. I am Boogie Bentley. I run this ship. I just got one thing left to say. Well, two things. I apologize for the F-bomb, but also go Big Orange.
Jack Kerouac, he drank himself to death in New England, and I'd like to take his hand and say, Jack, man, it's okay. Now he's gone, and we're left to move along on without him. Songs howl like beat poets at an arcade, soaking moonlit falls on broken past this inundated orb that we call home. And it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive. White headlights pierce the coals, blazing arrows, burning me to the marrow. But fire brings peace as well as it